like if you're one of those people who used to hate maths, this may not be for you because it can be a bit challenging. So you at least at a bare minimum you should have scored at least a C plus in curate in KCSE and a second class division. And for the second class division, it can be second lower as long as the second lower that is close to pass. We do finance, as I've said, the tuition and living expenses and the relocation process, which would cost you about $5,000. So you don't really have to worry about that as well. But also, we do require students to put in something into the program. But also, we do check your CR. Yeah, so, and I always try to insist that for those guys who are getting like actuaries and all those small loans and refuse to pay, inaweza kuramba baadaye, especially if you really want to get into the program. Because hata hao village riches watakufanyia ile kitu. So usiwaambie anything.
Is it that if somebody is going to the US or leaving the country? Ati anaambiwa tena nikienda kwa papa usiseme. Keep it as a secret. Usiambie mtu.
I'm telling you, no one.
Hello guys, welcome to the Mungai Eve show, and of course, you're the #1 online TV show. And guys, today I'm joined with them by an amazing guest. To everyone who has always wanted to go and study abroad, specifically in the US, he has good news for you guys. I'm gonna be talking about sponsorship in everyday. Anyway, how are you?
Salama sana, vipi?
Kwa sana, uko salama?
Salama.
Kwa majina tunakuita nani?
Well, my name is Bob Mwiti. And I live and work in the US. I've been living in the US for the last 15 years and I went there as a master's student.
Niliona watu kwa comment section wakisema, hey, 15 years na accent hakuna.
Mimi ni mmeru. Unajua sisi accent haishangi. Tunaongea kama Kiraito hata kama tumekaa huko for 50 years.
Anyway, that's just a joke.
Yeah, so I originally am from Meru, by the way. Eastern side of Kenya, so that's why I grew up. I grew up in the village, a typical village kid, doing well in school. Then later on, of course, I got an opportunity to go to the US in 2009. Yeah, so nilienda US kama as a master's student. I went to pursue a master of business administration in professional accountancy.
Okay.
Yeah, then in 2011, I graduated, and after that, I got an opportunity to work in the tech space, and I used to work as a systems analyst. So worked for about 5 years. Then after that, I decided to start my entrepreneurship journey, where I started a consulting company, and it's out of that a program that we currently run called the Kenya Airlift program was born. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing since then, since 2018 until now. Basically, what we do is we are an education financing scheme that helps bright Kenyans and Africans to get the opportunities to study abroad. Yeah, so typically for somebody to go to the US, you need money. Not just the US, but if you want to go and study, whether it's the US, Canada, Australia. Typically, it's usually a privilege it's usually students who have like money who are able to make that journey.
Yeah, to study abroad.
Yeah. It's not just anybody out there who can be able to be able to get all the money. Because, for example, the way I went to study for my master's, if you're going for a master's program, it can cost you about 5 million Kenya shillings to study on that side. And that covers your tuition and living expenses.
Okay.
Also, additionally, sometimes you find also that you can get all the financing on the other side, but even that process of moving from wherever you are in your country to the other side requires money. And that is usually called the relocation cost. And those are costs that includes cost of applying to the schools. There's exams that you have to do called GMAT or GRE if you're going for your master's program. That costs money. There's also something called evaluation of transcripts. Mostly universities on the other side they normally require you to align your transcripts with what they have on the other side. And for that process, you actually have to pay money around $250 for you to be able to align your transcripts, which is called evaluation of transcripts. Also, universities on the other side, when they give you admission, they want you to commit yourself that you're gonna attend school even before you get your visa. So they charge something called enrollment deposit, and it depends with universities, can be as low as 200, can be as high as $2,000, depending on the university.
Okay, so with this Kenya Airlift program, how do you identify the students that you guys are going to sponsor?
We usually actually don't really take anybody out there on the streets. It's usually for very bright students, because the way we finance the program is usually a combination of unsecured student loans and some tuition fee waivers that we get from universities that we work with. So you at least at a bare minimum, you should have scored at least a C plus in KCSE and a second class division. And for the second class division, it can be second lower, as long as the second lower that is close to pass. Now, another requirement that we do require in the program is that we focus on students who are interested in pursuing STEM programs. STEM basically means science, technology, engineering, and math. Reason being is because through our program, we don't usually do the typical traditional underwriting process where we look at what you have. For example, maybe do you have uko na shamba ama uko sijui na logbook, vitu kama hizo. We don't look at that. We look at your potential of making money after you're done with school. It basically means you have to have skills that most people don't have, which can help you get a good job, so that you can be able to repay the financing that you'll have received from the program.
Okay, so does that mean you can't people the kind of
The courses
to do, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So when someone gets into the program, we can take you in any undergraduate major, so you don't really have to have done STEM, because I get a lot of people get confused when they hear, oh, you know what, you guys are taking just STEM, sijafanya STEM. It's usually like, we want people who are interested in pursuing STEM, but you don't have to have done a STEM master's program. Okay. I mean, STEM undergrad. Yeah, and when you get into the program, we do have a very extensive handbook that has all the information about how the program works, the schools that we work with, and the programs that you can pursue. Because not everybody out there know what STEM is. So we have programs, for example, like project management, which are STEM. Actually, it's one of our most popular program, because haina mambo mingi, si ngumu. Watu wengi wataki vitu ngumu. Watu wengi wataki vitu ngumu. Yeah, so we have a career advisory team that really looks at your background, your career aspirations, and they sit down with you and they get to understand your background and all that, and they can guide you through the whole process, what you need to choose, which exams you have to do, because for you to pursue a master's program on the other side, you have to do an exam called GMAT or GRE. So depending with what you want to pursue, you can take either of the courses. Yeah, so that's really what our team generally does. We also do help out with the visa process, because going and studying abroad, it can be a bit frustrating, because what a lot of people really don't know is that visas are usually not guaranteed. And I actually get a lot of people who reach out and they're like, hey, you know what? I mean, this whole process, am I guaranteed to get on the other side?
Yeah, that's what I actually.
That's actually what you wanted to ask. Yeah. So my answer is usually nothing is really guaranteed, because of the fact that at the end of the day, we don't have control of how you can get the visa. It's at the end of the day, it's the US government that makes that decision. But what we do is we do have a very, very intensive visa coaching program that you have to go through. Once you get the admission from the schools on the other side, we help you in coaching you on how to approach the visa interview, because we know that visas can be very challenging. I was denied visa 4 times before I got to the US. And I always tell people, like, through this process, you actually have to be very patient. and you have to be a very resilient person so that even if you get denied visa once, you can, wake up, dust yourself, and keep on moving.
Okay.
Yeah.
By being denied the visa, does that mean this whole program? You said you guys sponsor everything, including the
Relocation expenses and tuition and living expenses
yes,
on that
but
side.
we'd like to understand the students, do they have to pay some fees?
Something to get into the program. Yes, so basically we do finance, as I've said, the tuition and living expenses and the relocation process, which would cost you about $5,000. So you don't really have to worry about that as well. But also, we do require students to put in something into the program. Because actually, whatever students contribute to the program, as you are joining as a regular student, which is usually $1,100, is also what we use for your relocation. On the other side, which requires a lot of money, which will be about 4 or 5 million, we do have partnerships with financial institutions in the US that actually gives us the money to facilitate to the students. But hii pesa ya kutoka hapa ndio ijipeleke hiyo ya relocation, which includes air tickets, any medicals that you have to do and all those things, that money comes from the company, from the program. And we usually get that money from those students who are joining the program. So yes, there is a cost that is associated with getting to the program, which is $1,100.
Okay, so when somebody is denied a visa, does that mean if they're trying again, they'll have to pay the fee once again?
Very good question. So because like I said, chances of getting the visa is not really guaranteed. You get students who get denied. So what you normally have to do is if you get denied, you basically have to go back again and apply for the visa. You don't have to pay again the 1,100 to get into the program, but you'll be required to pay extra money for you to process the visa. Usually visa, it goes for about $185, the US visa. So that's what we're gonna be required of you for you to pursue the visa once more. If you get denied again the same time, next time you're gonna do the same thing, pay for the visa, and then you're still within the program. Other times also we get students when they get into the program, maybe they fail the GMAT or the GRE exam. We have all the training and all that, but as you know, it's basically like as if you're in a school. Sometimes you might fail these exams, other times you might pass. So you get students also who fail those exams, and if you fail, then you have to pay. The exam itself is $250 to sit for that exam. Our pass mark is usually not very high. It's usually like 445 out of 805 for GMAT and 298 out of 304 for GRE, which are very achievable scores. But of course, we get students who fail the exams, but they have to redo again. And for that, you basically have to get another $250 for you to pay for the exam.
Okay, so for somebody to be able to sit on these exams, does it mean there's that specific training they have to go through, or the same courses they did in campus?
Yes, so GMAT and GRE exams, they are usually exams that you have to do if you want to pursue your master's on the other side, and they test your pretty much like your IQ levels. The exam, your math and English. So, and it's usually high school math. So I always say, like, if you're one of those people who used to hate maths, this may not be for you, because it can be a bit challenging. Yeah, but it's very, very doable. If you're somebody who scored reading, if you're someone who scored a C plus in high school, exams, but people do fail. Yes.
Okay, so what happens if somebody fails? They have to sit.
They have to sit for the exam. Yeah, and we do have training. I think that's what the question that you asked. We do have training. We run the training entirely online on a weekly basis for the GMAT and the GRE exams. So once you get into the program, you don't really have to figure out like how do you train or how do you
what to expect
looks like. Yeah. So all those kind of things. So we do have the training and we prepare students for that exam. Yeah.
Okay, so how long does the training take? And also for somebody to join the program, how long, like the process?
How long does the process take after you've joined? Well, the whole process to relocate to the US as a master's student through the program is usually about a year.
5 years.
1 year average. Okay. But you might think a year is long, but actually we do even have students who stay longer than that. I have a student right this morning who just got a visa, and he joined the program in January of 2022. and we're in 2024, almost August. So more than 2 years and 2.5 years. So yeah, so averagely we expect you to complete the process within a year, but you never know what can happen. You can get into the program, then ufikizo zima, waanze kublame mwalimu wa maths, ama you get a program and then you don't get the visa at the first attempt. So that takes, more time. So you might find yourself actually being in a program for more than a year, but averagely in an ideal case scenario, you're supposed to take about 1 year. Yeah. So as far as the Zima GRE training is concerned, usually the training is usually for 4 months. Then you are given about 1 or 2 months to prep after the training, so that now you can sit for the exam. The exam you can do them here in Nairobi. They used to do them. Students used to do them in Westlands, but right now they are being done in somewhere for the GMAT, somewhere in JKUAT. Yeah, so yeah, you go through the process and pass all that. Yeah, take something. Who got to JKUAT now? Go Juja.
In campus,
Yeah, so you once you do your exams and you pass, then we start the process of applying to schools, which also takes time. Then after that, once you get the school admission, then we start the process of you funding you, which of course also takes a few months. I'm sorry, a few weeks.
Okay.
And then after that, once you get the funding, then you are able to get your immigration document from the school, and then you are able now to start the processing of the visas.
Okay, and how guarantee is that every student will get the funding?
That's a very good question, actually. As far as the funding is concerned, when you're joining the program, we not only check your academic qualifications, but also we do check your CR. Yeah, so, and I always try to insist that for those guys who are getting like actuaries and those small loans and refuse to pay, inaweza kuramba baadaye, especially if you really want to get into the program. Because remember, we are giving a lot of money, facilitating a lot of funds. On the other side, it's about almost like 5 million Kenya shillings, and for the relocation, about 800,000. So you don't want to give money to people who actually don't pay. Yeah, so you have to show that in as much as you are young and you want to study on the other side, you also need to show that you're somebody who is financially responsible.
Yeah.
And we do look at your CRB, look at those CRBs. If you have any delinquencies, we don't accept you to the program. Usually we give you an option for you to find somebody who can consign your student loan. And that person must be a permanent resident of the US or a US citizen, the good credit. So that person will basically guarantee your loan, because wewe mwenyewe, you can't trust you because you are not good in paying debt. Yeah, so we do check those things, and if you don't meet the requirements, you don't accept you. So at the end of the day, if you're joining the program, if we accept you to get into the program, we are very sure that we can be able to fund you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to know, for somebody to join, like how do I join the program?
The first thing is usually for a student to go to our website, which is www.kenyaairliftprogram.com. But currently we are in the process of rebranding the program into International Scholars Program, because of the fact that we've had a lot of interest from students who are not Kenyans. We have students from Sierra Leone, Togo, Nigeria, Ghana, Zambia, and we feel like it would be better off if they're in a program that they feel part of, because if you keep on having the Kenya Area program as the Kenya Area program, they don't really feel like it's limited. They don't feel like they're part of it. So we are rebranding at the moment. But you can still find us on the internet if you search the Kenya Airlift program. Program is spelled as PROGRAM. Also, maybe later on, if you are searching if you're watching this video, you can also search International Scholars Program. At the moment, we are appearing on it's almost 5 of Google. So, but we're in the process of rebranding and pushing all those SEO stuff. So, we expect by January 2025, we can be able to appear and have officially rebrand into the International Scholars Program. So, we expect to appear on the first page of Google by then. So, yeah, they can go to our website. Also, we do have an office in Westlands, right next to GTC. The building is called the Mirage Tower 1. We are on 8th floor, and you come there. We have a team there that will be more than happy to answer all the inquiries that you may have. And also, for those who follow on social media, I'm very active on social media, especially on Facebook. I have a huge following there actually. People from all over the world always following me and getting to know more about what we do. So you can follow me on Facebook, also on Instagram, although I'm not very active. I think I'm also on X. I have my team that manages those accounts there. Also, if you want to do your due diligence, you can check us out on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is the International Scholars Program. Through that channel, we are able to showcase stories of beneficiaries, those who have gone through the process of their life in the US and all that. Because people actually want to see that.
Yeah, no, going abroad nowadays, it's not that easy. Yes. Actually, it has never been easy. Yeah. Also, sometimes it's associated with a lot of scams. We've seen so many programs whereby they are like, oh, we are taking people to the US. Yeah. And then students they end up not going to study.
Correct.
Yeah. So anyway, to actually on that, how many students have you guys been able to take to US, and how many have you been able to secure jobs after giving them the loans to be able to study?
Very good question, sir. Yeah, we do have, of course, challenges because this is one of those industries where it's kind of like very dicey in terms of the reputation. In fact, actually, like last year, I was put on the spot on KTN to discuss about the issues that was happening with Wasenkishu.
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah, actually, I was on TV that time with the deputy governor of Wasenkishu to actually explain how this whole process works and issues to do with scams. So within our program ourselves, we really also had instances, we had challenges with some of the students getting into the program and maybe they get, how do I put it? You see, when you get into such a program where there are some aspects of the program that are usually not guaranteed, there are chances that you might not be able to get on the other side and you lose your money. Why? Why am I saying this? Because, for example, I've just said you have to contribute $1,100 to the program. And for example, our refund policy says if you stay within the program for more than 6 months, we're not going to get anything back. If you join today and you withdraw within 6 months, you can get $500 back. Okay. So you can imagine maybe somebody gets into the program and they don't succeed. Kila mtu huko kwa vile mimi naenda majuu, ametoa pesa and then they don't succeed.
And what circumstances do people withdraw from the program?
For example, maybe you get frustrated with visas, right? Maybe you fail your GMAT and you feel like you don't want to redo again. There's all different reasons. Or maybe you get students who are, because these are for students who already have a bachelor's, maybe they are working, they are quite busy with their other lives, they're not even paying too much attention into the exams that they have to do. So it becomes a problem. And you know the nature of human beings is that you're always blaming the other side. So you've had a few of those cases where they don't feel maybe it was worth the effort that they put in, but those are like small cases here and there. But generally, anybody who is interested in getting to the program, I always tell them, like, go out there, go on the website, download the handbook, and go through each and every information on that handbook. Because we are required by the organization that actually we are certified by. It's called International Enrollment Management, Association of International Enrollment Management, AIRC. And they require us to be very open in terms of refund policies and things like those, so that if you are getting into the program, actually understand what you are getting into. Because not everything is guaranteed, like I've said.
Okay.
Yeah.
You will tell us how many people.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I wanted to come. So currently we have about 2,000 student members who are into the program. You have about 500 students who are currently in the US. This August, we expect to take about 150 students.
Okay, do you have like specific months or seasons that you take students?
Yes, we do. Usually August is usually our biggest intake. Because on the other side, that's when schools take students. Also, the other intake that we usually have is January, but January intake is very small. We don't usually take a lot of students, maybe less than 100. So we expect to take about 150 this August to go and study. So you have about 500 who are currently in the US. We could have had actually a lot more students, but also when we started the program in 2018, it was very slow. The 2018 we enrolled only 3 students. Our first student to go to the US was in 2020. And then the program picked up around late 2021 after I got featured by Jalano on a show. That's when people started knowing about the program. So you've started taking a lot of students from 2022 moving forward. Yeah, but also, like I said, that process is long. My find even somebody who joined the program in 2022 still is going through the process. Yeah. Apart from that, in terms of our numbers, so far we've been able to facilitate about 3 billion Kenya shillings in terms of unsecured student loans. We've also been able to facilitate about over 300 million Kenya shillings in terms of scholarships from the partner universities that we normally work with. We have about 25 partnerships with the universities on the other side. We've also been able to facilitate about 100 million Kenya shillings in terms of the relocation expenses funding. Yeah, so those are the numbers that we currently have in the program. We have an office also in Meru for those who are within the Mount Kenya region. They can go and reach out to us there at the Royal Business Park. Yeah, there on the 7th floor. We also intend to open up a few other offices, especially in Kisii. Kisii wanapenda sana kutoka nje.
Wanapenda US.
Eldoret, we want to open an office there, and also very soon also we'll be opening an office in Kisumu.
Okay, so quick question.
Yes.
After somebody had studied the US, do you guys help them get a job so that, for me to pay a loan,
Yeah.
I have to get a job? What happens if I finish studying in the US and unfortunately I don't get a job? Meaning I won't be able to pay
the loan. I get that question a lot. There's kind of like a misconception that it takes students to go and work rather than to study. Wanapeleka watu wanafanya kazi huko.
Yeah,
It's actually not the case.
we've had it with agencies whereby somebody goes to to study, but it's to work.
Yes, so our program is really strictly for students. You're going there to study. We want to go and study. Now, the US has a lot of opportunities. Personally, I went there as a student, and I formed this program because of the opportunities that I was seeing, especially in the technology space that I used to work in. So we send you primarily to go and study, but because of the opportunities that the country offers, most people wanajua sisi ni Wakenya, and ukienda huko unatafuta kazi, unatafuta opportunities zenye ziko huko zenye tu nilifanya hata mimi. Yeah, so of course, with that, and because of the fact that we take you to go and pursue STEM programs, they are very marketable whether in the US or anywhere across the world. You are marketable, so you don't have to necessarily come back to Kenya. You don't have to stay in the US also for you to be able to repay finances that you offer through the program. Wherever you are, the world has become a global village. So it's very easy for you to work from anywhere across the world, and you can be able to repay the funds that you have been given.
So there's no you can escape. You have to pay.
You have to pay. I mean, if, for example, if you decide to stay in the US, of course, the system there, they work. Like if you default the loan, then you're gonna be in deep trouble. You can't really do anything else after that. Like it's gonna be you're gonna be in deep trouble. And even in Kenya, by the way, you can be able to follow up with you if you decide to come back home. There's a lot of all the CIP process in place, so things are becoming much better to be able to track those that you give out money to. Yeah, so hakuna kuhepa. Ukihepa tu hepa uchukua unajua utashikwa tu ama you'll be like it's not like unaweza hepa ndani or anything, but it's just that your credit will be messed up and you can't be able to get any other funding.
Okay, and there's students maybe who go to the US and unfortunately they're not able to finish the courses.
Out of the students that we've sent, in but a few cases, you see, when we're running something this big, It's not always like everyone you are taking, they are actually serious students. You have those cases of students who are they are not interested in going to study, but rather they just want to get to the other side and work, of course. Yeah. So we've had those cases. We had two cases. A student who, when they reached on the other side, another kutupea story. Oh, sijui nini, bag zangu zimeibwa, sijui passports zimeenda, ukaenda kutarudi. Huyo student hana sijui siku hizi ako wapi. And there's another one also was supposed to go and report to school. Then he said, "Oh, they want to do, I don't know, go to some college, do some diploma, all kinds of stories." So we have those stories.
So
But
that's
we are very, you can't do much. Yeah, there's nothing that you can do because at the end of the day, you have no control of somebody's life. When you're on the other side, life is on you. In as much as you're part of the program, there's nothing that I can do. And if you decide you go and cut off all the communications, there's no way that you can be able to keep track of you. So we've had those cases.
Okay, so these
But
students,
very minimal.
these student visas that they get, usually for how long?
Usually a student visa would be for 5 years, even though a master's program would typically take about 18 months. But I always tell students and those who are interested in studying abroad, having a visa means nothing. Actually, what matters is your immigration document on the other side for school. Because you can actually have a 5-year visa, but when you go there, you don't go to school. It does not mean that because you have a 5-year visa on your passport, you are legally on the other side. No. But if you go to school, you maintain your classes and all those things, then you are able to maintain your immigration status as a student on the other side. So that's how it works. So you get a 5-year visa, but the program itself is for around 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, doing a master's, you do for like 18 months.
Yeah, master's program, you see, in the US, studying for your master's, see kama hapa venye unaambiangwa this semester you are doing like 7 subjects, next semester 7. In the US, there's a minimum that you have to do. Minimum units, for example, is 3 units, which is 9 credit hours, to a maximum of 5 units, which is 15 credit hours as an international student. So you can take a minimum of 3 or a maximum of 5. If you take a maximum of 5, most master's programs usually have like 10 units. You can actually knock off your master's within a year. Yeah, but if you are taking the bare minimum, you could go to as long as like 2 years to complete your master's.
Okay. And after how long are the students expected to start paying the loan?
So, because there are two components of loans here, there's the one for the relocation portion, which I'd say usually comes directly from the company, and the other one for tuition and living expenses, which is the biggest chunk of the funding, which comes from financial partners. So, for our relocation loan, usually you have to repay it within 6 months when you land in the US. 6 months later, you need to start repaying it for about 2 years. It's surely not a lot of money because it's about 5,000. Then on the other side, the one for tuition and living expenses, that one you pay 6 months after graduating for the next 10 years. Yeah.
Roughly how much is it?
Usually it depends with the interest rate that you get at the time of the underwriting. Typically for the relocation loan, the interest rate is usually give at 1% per month reducing balance. So you find out that you might be paying around 150 on a monthly basis, around there for the relocation one. For the other, for tuition and living expenses, probably around, depending with the interest and the loan amount that you've taken. Because also, in as much as we do the funding on the other side, you can be funded even up to as much as $100,000, but we even don't want our students to take huge loans. There's always opportunities for full scholarships within the universities that we work with, partial scholarships. So depending with the amount that you've taken, then of course your payment will be high. But typically, combined, you'd be paying around $500 monthly.
Oh, per month.
Yeah, sounds like a lot, huh? Because sometimes when you say, like, hey, you're gonna be repaying like $500, mtu anapiga hesabu $500 and dollar rate size and it's like 100 and that. Hapo ni kitu like 60, 70 thou kama loan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see also in the US, as an international student, first you're allowed to work. And the loan that you've already given you actually covers your tuition and living expenses. So even if you are working, whatever you are working basically you are able to put into the making the repayments for the loans. Yeah, and $500 is not really a lot of money. Yeah, but on the other side. Yeah, back on the other side. Yes, upper it's a lot. But the other side it's not. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you can tell us what are some of the advantages of going to the US through you guys rather than just going as an individual.
Well, one is the fact that you don't really have to figure things out on your own. You have somebody who's actually holding your hand. Like we get you through that whole process. You don't have to worry about the schools you're gonna be studying. You don't have to worry about how to do these exams. You don't have to worry about how to know what to expect at the embassy. All those things. And the biggest actually of them all is that because a lot of people out there they actually see us as this company that is sending students to the US, but also forgetting that what we are trying to really do is we are trying to build a community of brilliant talent. Because once you go on the other side, we don't just let you just be on your own. We support you. For example, ukifika pande ile, the students those who are picking you from the airport to the school, they are fellow students in the program. We build communities around those universities that we are sending students. For example, some of the classes that you are attending, some of the students, most of the students actually they are from the Kenya Airlift program. Yeah, kuna programs zingine hata unakuta kuna like out of 30 students, at least 15 students are from the program. So there's that home feeling. You're not like on your own because you've already built that community. And then of course also even outside the school, once you're done with school, figuring out how to transition into the corporate world, we do offer training programs that you can do. Those other students who have already graduated, maybe they are working, they're able to connect the other students with they're working. For example, right now we have a lot of students who are working with Amazon. Amazon is the biggest e-commerce retailer in the world. And because of the fact that those students who got jobs with Amazon, they are able to connect the others in terms of the recruiters, connect them to the recruiters who recruited them into those jobs. So it's very easy for those students who come later on to be able to find those opportunities. So that's the platform that we have. Rather than just being out there on your own, alone, figuring things out, we are there for you. We are going to support your dreams. Also, something that I didn't tell you is that we also do actually send students to Canada. Okay. Although the US is our biggest market at the moment, usually for us, Canada is we normally take you to Canada as a plan B. What do I mean? In case, yeah, first of all, we expect you to try the US. In case the US doesn't work out for whatever reason, we've talked about visas and things like those. We have cases of people who come through the program, maybe an environment, a US embassy before that visa. Yeah, those who sometimes even they get banned from traveling. Maybe I present some documents. There's all kinds of stories that work to it. So and they are not able to really pursue the US. We have an Canadian option for them. We're also able to finance Canada. Okay. Yeah. And in this program, do you guys have like age limit or anyone? It's very, very, very good question. So ideally, you see, when you are, especially for the US, if you want to really go there and study for your master's, you have to look like a genuine student. I always tell you, you really have to look like you have to look like a genuine student. Yes. What do I mean by that? Like the US government, both the visa officers that are there, they want, they actually see a lot of people get denied visas, especially Africans, but the reason being is because most people are not able to prove that they are actually genuine students because there's so many people who want to go to America and they use a student visa as a means to go there. Everybody wants to leave this country. That's why we are buying this country. Sasa, a lot of people want to go. And that visa officer, even if you, for example, and I've actually had even meetings with the consular section, asking them like what they normally look out for when it comes to giving visas. And you find out like, even for example, you can present bank statements that are like 10, whatever million. and they are not able to verify that. What they want to see is when they interact with you during that visa interview, do you sound like you are a genuine student? Are you able to articulate the reasons why you're going to study on the other side? Why are you, for example, living Kenya and you want to study in the US? What have you been doing? Is what you've been doing related to what you're going to study? What you're going to study, what skills will you get after that? Those kind of things. So they grill you in that regard. Okay. So they are always looking for very genuine students, and even those that we enroll into the program, we don't want you to get into the program and then maybe you are not able to get a visa because of maybe you are too old. The visa officer thinks like this may not be an ideal student. Because for example, we do take anybody who is below 50 years old. Ukiwa like for example 60, surely at 60, your kids are the ones who are supposed to be looking for a visa to go and study. And that's how the visa officer will be looking at your case. So chances are to succeed in that instance if you're that kind of that kind of age, they are low. So we don't want somebody like you. But we actually do get students who insist they want to get into the program. We have students who are over 60, but they've been denied visa, unfortunately. But they insist they want to be. So we can't stop you, but when you try to get into the program, we'll tell you, hey, at this age, this is not good. Yeah, the outcome won't be good. But if you insist, I want to go, then of course you'll get into the program. But I cannot stop you from getting it. But there is none who has succeeded. For those old cases, no. But we have a lot of students who are over 40s. Okay. Like 45 and above, 47, 48, we have very many cases. 40s, that 5, it's usually the majority. Yeah. But of course, majority of the students in the program, you guys Gen Zs who are like in 25, around there. Yeah, so that's usually the big, majority of the numbers. Okay, so maybe unless you have something else that you'd like to add, I feel like we've covered most areas. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything. So I mean, my message out there to anybody who's watching this is that whether you're coming through the Kenya Airlift program or basically doing this on your own, the process of going and studying abroad, the process can be very long, can be very challenging. So what is really needed of you for you to be very patient with the process, take things as they come, and of course be somebody who is resilient. As in, if you get frustrated, you wake up and keep on moving. Because like me, I've got denied visa 4 times. For me, it took me almost 8 years to get to the US. I started the process way back after graduating from high school. And mi kwanza nilikuwa nimeambia kila mtu mi naenda majuu. And I'm so disappointed. Years later watu walikuwa nashinda wakiniuliza we Bob bana, kwani nitaienda majuu? And I always try to advise anybody who is out there who want to start this process. Just because you watched Bob talking about going and studying abroad, don't assume the process is quite easy and start telling everybody, because hata our village witches watakufanyia ile kitu. So usiwaambie anything. Is it that everybody who is going to the US or leaving the country? Ati anaambiwa tena tukienda kwa process usiseme. I think keep it as a secret. Usiambie mtu. I'm telling you, you know what? Really? Okay. Here is the thing, Well, I don't believe much in those village witches. But the problem is embarrassment, especially when I'm gonna feel so bad. Yeah, because we know your process like when I'm a lot of people get excited about it. So umetoka huko umeanza kuambia, mimi naenda, failing to understand that there's a lot of aspects of that process that actually you have no control of. You see? Most people don't know that. So even me, when I started that process, I was just thought, tapata visa tu. Kumbe hata sitapata. So I had to keep on answering so many questions all the time when I meet somebody that I was in school with 5 years down the line. Wakiniuliza Bob, hujaienda majuu, kwa hiyo bado uko huku tu unakula shida na mimi. Yeah, so instead the way ushinde answer those questions, just keep it to yourself. But ukipata visa, ambia kila mtu.
Now you can start talking.
You can talk about it, throw parties and all that. Kwanza nilipata hiyo visa nika quit job. Those days when I was going to the US. I quit my job. Nikakuwa jobless for about 3 months before niende. Also, don't do that. If you get the visa, just wait until the last day. Utoke tu job alafu, because at the end of the day, you still need money hata kama umepata visa. You need money for that process. Hata pesa ya kukula ukienda. Those kind of things. Don't just get a visa. I got my visa in May and I was supposed to travel in August. So for 3 months I was jobless, sikuwa na kazi and all those things. So for anybody who is out there, if you get your visa early enough, just chill. Fanya tu kazi, endelea fanya job, alafu sasa ukipata opportunity, enda pande. Because also at the end of the day, you don't want to burn bridges. Wengine wanapatanga visa wanakuwa na kiburi. Ni kama sasa they are going to heaven or something, they don't care about their current job because you never know. They might come back here and start looking for the same job and you'll be at a vibaya. So that's all we can tell. Yeah.
Okay, but if you mentioned about the whole internet pesa here and there, kukula everything. So upkeep is up to you.
Yes, upkeep for us, like I said, the financing covers your tuition and living expenses. Basically, kwenye mtakaa, utakula, kila kitu, it's all taken care of.
Okay, food, meal, everything is taken care of.
Yeah, so basically what happens the financing, normally the way the financing works, once you secure your funding on the other side for tuition and living expenses, that money directly goes to the school. Okay. When you get your visa, when you report to the school, the money is channeled to the school's account. The school cuts their tuition fees, and then whatever remains, they give that to the channel to your account, your bank account, anakuweka kwa your bank account, and then you use that to pay your bills, to pay your rent on a monthly basis, to pay your groceries, to pay your internet, whatever you need as a student. So you're able to use that money. And like I said, on the other side, you're allowed to work. So you can work on campus. Usually it's about 20 hours during school session. Out of school session, like right now, in summer, you're allowed to work 40 hours. Yeah. Una make pesa enough to help you with hata watu wakuu. Unajua huku nyumbani saa zingine ukiwa Amerika kama wewe ni student huko hata utume ka kitu so maadhi huyo anataka umsaidie mtumie $50 sijui so moja. They don't understand uko shule. Yeah, but there's always there's that opportunity for you to be able to work on that side. Also, another thing that a lot of people may be asking, maybe they might be asking on the comments, is whether you can go with your family. Right? For example, those who are married. Remember, we are taking master students, so maybe has a family already. You don't want to leave your family behind. So actually, it's very, very possible. We have a lot of our students actually who have been able to take their families to the US. Normally, what I usually advise anybody who wants to go with their family is that first of all, go there, see how things are. Survey, instead of wewe mtoke tu hapa mwende new one, because even most of the time, actually the kind of accommodation that you normally source for students on the other side is usually shared accommodation
for students.
For students, yeah. So because it's very expensive, you can't really have an apartment on your own as a student. Apartments on your own can cost you around maybe almost $2,000. That's a lot of money. Shared accommodation on the other side cost you around $700, depending with where you are. Come from New York, of course, it's a bit higher. Come from California, San Francisco, you have some schools there, can be a bit higher. Shared accommodation of Takama Huko, you are paying like $1,500. Shared. Basically, you are staying like 4 people in an apartment. Well, you're sharing the living room and the kitchen.
Yeah, it's like in this house.
These house like that. Yeah, that kind of arrangement. That would be around 700 typically. But in those big cities where it can be very expensive, it can go to up to about 1,500.
Okay, talking of the
because of the sharing aspect, if you're doing with family, share na family yako, kana people, those kind of things. So when I was already the vitu ziko, and then you can make a decision that you bring the family later.
Okay. Talking of information about states, do you guys allow students to choose, or are the ones to choose where?
Which state are the students supposed to go? I actually get a lot of those questions, especially for those who have families in the US, most people they want to go where like it's between Texas, not happen at Texas, or New York, not happen at New York. Well, the problem with that is that when it comes to actually getting the visa, it can count against you because the visa officer, when they look at your case and you are going to Texas because you have a family member in Texas, they will think that you want to go there, not necessarily because you want to go to school. Hata kama wewe unaenda kufanya shule, not necessarily because you want to go to school, but because your family is there. And that will be a basis of them denying a visa. Because for a student visa, you're supposed to show ties back to your country, not where you're going. Okay. So what we normally advise anybody who is asking those kind of questions, like, can I go to this place because I have family here? What we tell them is, you join the program and get to the universities that we have. We don't have universities in all the states. Come get to the universities that we have, because also you going to those universities, even to the visa officer, it shows you're actually a genuine student. We may decide not to go to Texas, umeenda Michigan, hata kama Texas kuna sisi yako huko, umeenda Michigan, visa officer ataona uko na sisi Texas, but actually you are going to school in Michigan. That shows that you are a genuine student.
You really have to disclose your outlet.
The expectation is that you have to disclose on your visa application. But anyways, it depends. But as a professional advice, that's what we normally advise you. Like, do this because of this and this and this. Otherwise, there might be a problem. Yeah, but you can actually even change if you want. Yeah, you don't have to, like, for example, you can get an admission to school A and actually end up going to school B. Even not like your visa could be for whatever school A, and it's the one that is stamped on the passport. But even when you are traveling, you can decide to travel to another university, as long as you already have the visa and you have the immigration document for that other university. You are good to go.
All right. Maybe as we conclude, you can let people know once more where they can get you guys, your offices, where they're located, and also on social media.
Yeah, again, our offices are up on Canairo to go Westlands. We call it Garage. Hapo tu GTC right off Wayakiwe, tatupata hapo, kuja hapo, utapata timu yetu and they'll be able to sort you out. On the internet, you can find me on Facebook, Bob Mwiti, on Instagram, Bob Mwiti. I think I'm also on LinkedIn, TikTok, X and all those. You can always find me there. Again, it's very, very important that you go to our YouTube channel and check out the beneficiaries of the program. We have a lot of stories of those guys who have succeeded before you. It's very important that you go and check out what they are doing, because most of the time, I get, like, even when we started, most people used to ask me, like, "Umepeleka wangapi?"
Yes.
Those early days, people want to see the beneficiaries there. So it's very important that you go out there, do your due diligence, watch those videos. We have thousands and thousands of them. And hopefully, we'll be able to support your dreams to study abroad. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Bob. We really appreciate for your time, taking the time to talk to us. And guys, in case you're watching this video and maybe you have questions, you can always reach out to him. I'll put down his social media handles that he has mentioned so that you can get to know more about the program. Anyway, guys, it has been the Mungai Eve Show. In case you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, take your time, hit the subscribe button. We'll meet in the next video.